Alright everybody, so it's Curtis the Wordy Nerd. I'm back again. Let's get a little bit more painting done today. So I've already started, I poured my paints. We're gonna mix them together a little bit here. I know it's hard to tell which one I'm reaching for, but I'm trying to make a nice little kind of an orangey color that we're going to use to dry brush onto Oleg. Now, I probably should go ahead and just use my Vallejo Game Color Sun Yellow to mix with my heavy orange and gory red, but I'm going to go ahead and try out the heavy ochre color since it's a little bit of a more brown tone to give it more of a realistic color. So I'm going to put a big droplet on there. Alright. I think for the next time I do a video for you guys, I'm going to go ahead and clean my palette a little bit better. There we go. Now, if you can see all that, if the camera is picking that up correctly, that is pretty much exactly the color I was hoping I would get. So what I'm going to do now is get as much of the paint out of my brush back onto the palette here. I'm going to use some of the other surface here instead of the palm of my hand to get the dry brush going there. We're going to take the body. And remember the last time we showed about the dry brushing patterns and motions? So we're going to assume the light source is hit from overhead, shining down on the figure, right? And the reason we assume that is because when displayed, that's how the light should be striking the figure most of the time, which will allow the details to be visible. So I'm going to use my palm one time just to make sure we've got enough out. And we're going to go from the top and gently work downward, kind of at a diagonal. Alright. And because I'm not spending a lot of time trying to get the paint into those crevices, what I'm doing is I'm creating the illusion that there's shadows there. And that is the key, that is the goal of a good dry brush. We don't want to go back and forth. It's kind of hard for you to see that at home that I'm not going back and forth. What you're seeing is I'm touching and lifting and coming back up again. Alright. Now, based on the lighting here outside today, I don't know how well you're seeing this at home. But I feel that Oleg is getting good color and good coverage out of this. Alright. Picking up those muscles, the striations in the muscles. Hopefully the wind is not ripping through the microphone really bad and creating screeching while you're watching this at home. Now what I just did there was I did go back and forth a little bit, but it really was because I wanted to get a little bit more paint on it. Alright, so we're going to rotate him a little bit. We're going to get some more of the paint. Now, a trick that I've done on him that you didn't get to see at home already was while he was kind of curing, drying, I decided that I would spray him with some clear coat to try to speckle his texture. Alright. And what this did for us is on his back of his arm there, kind of hard to see on the camera, but all of this has texture now because the spray and the pattern just went over the plastic almost ideally. And it left us with what looks like almost a furry texture. And as a troll, we kind of wanted that for him in the first place, right? So now we're going to come down the legs. And at this stage in the paint process, woo, stink bugs. In Virginia this summer we've got a really bad stink bug infestation going on. So here we are in the fall and these suckers are everywhere still. But lost my train of thought there. We're not at the detail stage yet for the paint coverage. So it's okay if we get a little bit outside of the line, so to speak. What that's going to do for us is help make sure that we get good brush strokes to get good coverage. And when I say coverage, I'm talking about how well the paint is covering the figure's body. Okay, that's the coverage I'm referring to. Now, when we get that good coverage, what should happen is our colors should be playing off of each other, creating the illusions that there's a gradation, an amount of light hitting the surface to create some shadowing, so that our final product has as close to a realistic appearance as we can get for it. Now the reason we go from the top down, like I said before, is we wanted the effect that the light is hitting the subject from overhead and working its way down. But I didn't really talk about why that works. The reason that works is because light, when it's hitting on top of something, creates the shadow on the other side. And that's what we're looking for here, is to create that shadow on the other side. So while the top of the muscle looks normal, the bottom should be darker. The underside. Now, I'm thinning my paint with water back there to get a little bit more coverage out of my dry brush. It's almost ironic really to call it a dry brush once I've wet it, right? But I'm still using the same technique for it. When your dry brush is applied correctly, it makes it almost impossible to detect a brush stroke. You don't really want your customs to have a whole bunch of brush strokes visible everywhere you look. So, as you can see now, even in this light, those shadows are starting to appear a lot more dramatic. And that's what we want in the long run, is dramatic shadowing. Because it creates that illusion for us. It helps us maintain the illusion, not just create it. Now, I look at this and I look at the way the feet have this texturing on them and the rest of the skin doesn't. And I asked myself, would I have been better served to have taken the feet and just sculpt into them a little bit? And you know what? I honestly think I might have wanted to have done that. But I don't think it's going to hurt the overall production that badly. You know, maybe if you decide you want to make one at home, maybe you'll decide you want to do the sculpt over the feet. I, for one, just can't do that right now. So, now even though I'm turning him upside down, I'm still brushing him toward his feet. This is going to continue that lighting effect that we talked about. Now, because the feet go side to side, what I want to do is front to back on the feet, but I want it heavier on the tops of the feet because that's the most raised surface. The light would hit the tops of the feet the most. And then around the feet edges at the bottom, we don't want as much coverage. That, again, helps to create that illusion, to maintain that illusion, so that when somebody's looking at it, it becomes harder for the eyes to find things that are wrong. Yes, my boys are outside in the yard lightsaber fighting right now, so we can kind of hear them, we can hear the traffic. Once we get ourselves into a good housing situation, videos won't have all the excess sound in the backgrounds anymore. That's my promise. We found a house that we like. It's a HUD house, and it's not an impossible house for us to afford once we get our credit situation fixed, which is great. We would love that house. It's perfect for us. Exactly the right amount of space for us, the kids, some workspace, the yard for our dog, everything. I mean, it's ideal for us. So, all right. So there we have it. We have applied yet another layer of paints to our Ulick Custom. Lots of dry brushing. Lots of details are showing up now. I'm going to set him out to dry a little bit more. Once I'm comfortable with where he's at, then I'll go back over him with some clear coat for the arms so that I can handle him. Your clear coat, a lot of people misunderstand what the clear coating is for. I'm going to set him on the box and let him dry a little bit here while I talk about that for a second. So there's a couple of different types of clear coats that you can get. Your two basic kinds are gloss or matte. Now, I am a huge fan of Krylon's gloss. Alright, crystal clear, metal, wood, wicker, and more. Gloss clear. This actually does create a pretty good barrier between the surface and your hands. Your clear coat is being used to separate it from the oils on your fingers while you're handling it. Okay? It's not really going to protect it from paint rub. It doesn't do anything like that. A lot of people misunderstand that. This one here is a Purity Seal by Citadel. Alright, and Purity Seal is a matte varnish. Same thing as the gloss in terms of protection, but it dulls down the amount of light that reflects off of your toy. And that dulled down effect helps keep it look more realistic. Okay? Some people prefer their toys to look shiny and new. Some people want it to look like it might actually be some kind of living creature. So those are your options in terms of what your clear coats are going to do for themselves. That's everything for right now. I'll get back with you guys later. You guys have a good one.